Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Literary Ladies. It has been a hot minute, but we have not RIP'd. We are not dead. We are here and in person on a podcast. Hello, I'm your host, Melanie.
And I'm KP.
Hi,
And
KP.
thank you for clearing up that we are not dead. We are just MIA.
Yeah, we just have been taking long, to go through these books. And you know what? It's fine because we're here now. So, the book we're talking about today is called Verity by Colleen Hoover. And for a brief synopsis, this book is about this woman named Verity. She is a writer who has this popular book series where she writes from the point of view of the protagonist, right? Antagonist. Which one is it? The bad guy. She writes from the perspective of the bad guy. And sorry, I don't know why I'm so confused on that. But anyways, she gets into a car accident that supposedly makes her kind of in a comatose state. Like she still opens her eyes, but she doesn't really stare at anything and she can't communicate. And yeah, so she has like a in-home nurse that comes every single day and helps her husband take care of her. And they have had 3 children in their life, but 2 of them have died and there's still 1 child left. But anyways, the premise of the book is that this other woman gets brought in who is also a writer to finish up the series as kind of a co-author with Verity. And she is not a super popular writer. So the idea of like coming onto this big series and getting a really large sum of money for it was very enticing to her. So she kind of moves into their house for a few weeks to go through all of Verity's like notes and everything in her office, and creepy things start happening inside of the house while she's there. So definitely recommend giving this book a read if you have not already. It's very good, but we're going to talk about some spoilers right after this. So don't listen any further if you do not want to hear them. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we sure are. We're going to spoil all the things.
We sure are. Okay, so since I've been talking so much, I'm going to ask you the first question.
Okay.
What was your first impression of Lowen, and did your impression of her change as the story progressed?
So at the beginning of the book, you can tell she was very anxious. She was a very depressed woman. Her mother just passed away. She hadn't left the house in months. The first time she does leave the house, she sees a man get hit by a car and the blood ends up on her, which that was within the first like 5 pages. And I was like, dear God, do I want to read this book? Like, I don't know. This is really graphic. But it was interesting to start the book that way. And yeah, she was very timid. She was very, she wasn't confident at all. And throughout the book, you could tell she got more confident. At sometimes I would consider her like cocky, and the later on in the book it got like I was like, you went from being like very insecure to like kind of confident to being like kind of like, this is my house,
Yeah.
which it like wasn't. So yeah, I thought it was a very interesting progression of her character.
Yeah, for sure. Like she basically talked about how she couldn't really afford her like living space. Like I think she got evicted by her landlord and she had trouble getting a new apartment once she actually was getting this sum of money from coming on as a book writer. And I don't think she was super confident in her own work. She kind of questioned why she was even picked to be the co-author of this book series that was doing so well. And yeah, like you said, her first experience coming out of her house after her mom passed away was like blood splatter all over her body, which in a twist of fate is how she ended up meeting Jeremy, who is the husband of Verity. Jeremy Verity, love it. But yeah, supposedly he had like known her work and invited her to come onto the book series because he said that Verity like really liked her style of writing or something like that. So yeah, I definitely agree. Like she started out very I don't know. I don't know like a good way to describe it because it's like she just lacked confidence in herself, I guess. And then as it progressed and she started unfolding all of this stuff, it was like she had to almost become not confident, but like she had to stand up for this husband and the kid that had no idea all of these things that the wife had supposedly done, like killed one of the children and just crazy, crazy stuff.
So crazy, the
Yeah.
most. So on to the next question. What did you think about the way that Lowen met Jeremy? We kind of already got into this, but what did you
Yeah.
think about that first encounter?
That was crazy. Like, because they ended up, so basically he just took her into this weird bathroom. I don't even remember where they were to like get herself cleaned up. And first of all, a stranger locking himself in the bathroom with you, that's kind of weird. Like he could have just given her a shirt and like stood outside of the bathroom while she changed. Like it was just strange that he went in there with her. And like obviously if he knew her work, I feel like he knew what she looked like. Like if you're about to offer someone like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like I'm sure you've seen their picture before. So I don't know. I feel like he did know who she was, but didn't really say anything. And then they met up again. Was it in the elevator before the meeting? Like in the building they were
Yeah.
supposed to see each other in. So that was just, it was kind of crazy.
I agree with you. I wouldn't go into, I think they were at a coffee shop. I would not go into a bathroom with a man who I just met with blood all over myself.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, like we didn't even know that he was going to give her his shirt. He was just helping her like clean up. So I think I would have been like, I'm cool. You go on with your day.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay, so the next question, given the circumstances, which I'm sure is referring to the fact that Verity is in this like coma and she needs to figure out more information about the book and like what she was planning for the next couple books in the series, would you have accepted Jeremy's offer to stay at their house for 2 weeks?
No, I wouldn't. Well, okay, so let's think about it. She was pretty much homeless. She got denied this apartment she had applied for. So, did she have many other options? I don't think so. She kind of had to go stay at this house, but I would not have gone there. I feel like I would have been like, oh, I'll come during the day, but like I'm going to leave at night because that's really weird.
Yeah, that's true. She could have done that. And also like just absolutely not. I would not go stay at because he's still a stranger. Like I don't care what experience you shared before then. Like, no, you're not just gonna go stay at someone's house. And I think that she even said she would take some of the stuff with her. And he's like, oh, there's just too much. But like it's not like she can go through that much in a day. So just take what you can go through in a day and then go back the next day or whatever. And she could have stayed at a hotel or something, I'm sure. So yeah, absolutely not. I would not have stayed at their house.
Yeah, I just think that was like very awkward. Like she kind of I just say kind of like 12 times. She kind of became a part of like their family in a sense. Like she ate dinner with them sometimes and she was staying there and she was in the Verity's office working. It was just very, I don't know. It was very weird to me.
Yeah. It was like she took on this role of the mom in this household. Meanwhile, the mom's like comatose, sense my air quotes, upstairs in another bedroom.
Yeah. So the next question, it was eventually disclosed that Jeremy pre-selected Lowen as an author to write the remaining books for Verity series. What did you think about that? Did it make you look at him any differently?
I mean, like I already said, like obviously he knew who she was. The other thing is he said that he never really even read any of Verity's books. So it's weird that he's a reader and reads Lowen's books, but didn't really read his wife's books. And I guess because did he know that the characters were based off of him? Because remember she like wrote one of the characters to be like based off of him or something.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just weird because like if he knew that, maybe it would be awkward to read that, but I just don't really understand why he never read any of her books. But yeah, he like has such a knowledge of this other writer to say, oh, she'd be perfect for this job.
Yeah, I found that to be very weird too. I feel like if you're married to someone who's a writer, when they finish their book, you're going to be the first person to read that.
Yeah, like you'll be reading it on their laptop or like whatever. Like you're not gonna wait for the book to come out and have it in your hand, but
Right, yeah. So it didn't make sense why he read other people's work, but he didn't read his own wife's work.
right.
That was weird.
If you, oh wait, I think I skipped one. Yes. What were your thoughts on Jeremy and what one work best describes him? Oh, what one word best describes him for you?
I just think he was like kind of weird. Like I think inviting her to stay at the house was weird. I think um as the story progressed, he was like weird about Verity and about the son. Yeah, I just thought he was kind of weird. I don't know if I have like a word to describe him. I think he was just a little
Weird. Weird is your word. I would say my word is probably lonely because I can't imagine like yeah, you have your kid there, but your wife is just like there, but you can't really talk to her or anything. So I feel like having this new person in the house like reignited something for him.
yeah, totally. I get that. All right. If you were in Jeremy's place, do you think that you would have kept Verity in the house or do you think you would have put her in a rehab home?
I feel like at first I would definitely have had them. I don't know. I think that's a hard question for me to answer because I'm like, people like, yeah, she has this in-home nurse and it's great that they can afford that, but I guess it depends on the condition because you'd want them to like, someone has to be there all the time because people that are just in a place like that, and yeah, her bed moved weirdly, it was like mechanical because they can get bed sores if they're in the same position for too long. And like, obviously, she's like incontinent, like she has to be changed and given baths and stuff. So it is like a full-time job just taking care of this person. And yeah, they had April to help them, but I don't know. I feel like it's so hard to even know what you do because like that's your spouse and that's someone you love. But if they're in this vegetative state, then you end up being like, well, they're not really like in there, you know? I don't know. I think at first I probably would have brought them home and then who knows how long it would be before I was like, well, maybe it's better to be in a place. I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I feel the exact same way. I think at first I would think like, oh, I can do this. I'll bring them home. I'll take care of them when the nurse is not there. But Lowen mentioned it to Jeremy saying like this is really like taxing on you. Like you can't work, you're always here, you're always stressed. Your son's probably not getting the attention that he needs because you're taking care of Verity. So yeah, I feel like that's a tough spot. I probably would bring them home, but then eventually put them in a home by
Yeah. And then speaking of the son, like if anything happened to like let's say low or not low, and let's say Verity like continues to stay alive and just in that vegetative state and like something happens to Jeremy or Jeremy passes away, then that responsibility is now on their son. And that's not necessarily something you want to leave your son with like as a responsibility. So
yeah, no, not at all.
um let's see. What were your thoughts on Lowen's sleepwalking and hurting herself when she was a kid?
I thought that was very interesting because she only really described like one incident where she hurt herself, but you could tell by like how she talked about it that she was very scared of herself
Mm-hmm.
while she slept walk. And I think that was because her mom kind of instilled that into her. from
It was
that.
like, it was the creepiest thing when she like woke up in bed with Verity. I was like, oh my gosh. Like that was a freaky moment of the book. The only thing I really like have to say on that is I just thought it was so funny when she asked for the door to be on the, or the door, when she asked for the lock to be put on the door to like lock herself into the bedroom. Um, Recently someone else was telling me about some comedian, Mike Birbiglia, who also sleepwalks and has to like sleep in a sleeping bag or something and like zip it all the way up so that he can't like get out and walk around, because it can totally be dangerous. Like
Yeah.
who knows what, like if you're gonna jump, I think they said he jumped out a window or something. Like you can just do crazy stuff while you're dead asleep.
Yeah, I used to sleepwalk really bad as a child,
Yeah.
and I woke up once in, like, the bathtub, I woke up on the stairs a few times, like, just sleeping, like, on the stairs, like, going like, up the stairs,
Yeah.
and, there was one time in Orlando where I remember I was trying to get onto the balcony while I was sleeping in this hotel room with my family because I had a dream that I could, like, see John Travolta's house from the balcony, and my parents woke me up and they're like, "You're trying to get on the balcony," and I was like, "Oh, I was, like, trying to find his house."
Oh my gosh.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, I used to sleepwalk, but, like, I never, like, hurt myself or did anything crazy. I would just
I've had two like sleepwalking experiences, and I may have told you this before. Like the first one, I had these like terrariums on my nightstand next to my bed, and it was like a succulent with some dirt and rocks in it, and it was like in a little like glass gold thing. And I woke up one night and I had unpotted the succulent and I was holding it in my hand. So there was dirt and this plant like in my hand and dirt all over the floor. And then a different time, and these were the only two times this has ever happened to me. I got out of bed on the opposite side of where I would like get in and out of my bed, and I was trying to like open the window, which that is like the creepiest one to me because I'm like, what was I trying to do?
I
Let
like
in some fresh air.
the plant story is the best. You just woke up with, like, dirt all over your hand.
That was the weirdest thing ever. I'm just like gardening in my sleep.
I love that for you.
Thank you so much.
Multitasker, Melanie,
Yep.
gardening and sleeping.
Leveling up.
Okay. Do you think that Nurse April knew that Verity was faking her condition? And why do you think she just liked Lowen so much?
Okay, I think she just like Lowen so much because it's this like other woman that's coming into the picture while Jeremy is still married to Verity and he's like still taking care of her. So I think like as a nurse, you're like, oh, is he gonna like not put as much effort into caring for this woman that like she's spending all day long caring for?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that she knew that she was faking it. I think that because she had one outburst where she was like, oh, you need to speak like directly to her. And I think that that is just something that you're kind of taught like in the medical field to just like no matter what disability a patient has or what they're dealing with, like you should always speak like directly to them. So I think that was coming from that place rather than her knowing that Verity was faking it.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that she did like dislike Lowen because it was the other woman and it's just weird that she was there. And yeah, I think like as a nurse, Verity's acting was probably really good where she didn't let on that she was actually normal,
Yeah, that's crazy that she could have fooled her.
right?
Okay, let's see. There are several heart pounding slash anxiety inducing moments in the book. Did any of them stick out to you?
Yes, a lot of them. So like I was texting you throughout all of this being like, "Oh my gosh, this is like scaring me. This is making me really anxious. What's wrong?
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old and I'm getting scared by this page with letters on it." And yeah, I think it started when the son saw or was like looking up at the window at her, and when Lowen turned around, there was like no one there. And
Mhm.
then obviously like the little things like the TV being turned off and like that knife that like magically disappeared. And then obviously when she was like hooking up with Jeremy and she saw her at the top of the stairs, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was the like creepiest one for me was when she saw her at the top of the stairs. And also just like every time the kid was like, "Oh, mommy told me like not to tell you anything about her," or like anything that he would say that the mom had told him. I was like, "Nope." I would be out of there so fast.
Yeah, that literally from the beginning, I was like, this woman is not in a comatose state. There's something going on. She's faking this. I never at any point thought that like Lowen was crazy. I knew that there was something up with Verity.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So moving on to when you found out that she was faking her injuries, how did you feel?
Um, that's first of all, like I'm impressed because like holy crap, that must be the most boring life on the face of the earth. I guess like when it's either faking that or going to jail, like you weigh the pros and cons, but like just like having to like stare off into the distance when someone comes in and like crapping yourself because obviously you can't just not do that. Like whatever and like someone's feeding you and just having to like I don't even know like it's pretty impressive to me. That's all I can say.
Yeah, she was dedicated. Like that took a lot of dedication to stay in that state for however many months. Yeah, I thought that was crazy when we finally found out that she was not injured.
Yes. Okay, Crew knew that his mother could talk. Why do you think he never told Jeremy?
I think she told him not to. I think she said, like, don't tell your dad that I'm talking to you. And I don't know, maybe there was some intimidation there that she like scared him into not telling.
Yeah, I could totally see her being like, don't tell dad that I'm talking to you, or like mommy's gonna go away for a long time or something like that. Like so he'd be like, oh, well, I can't tell now because of course I want to like see my mom, you know? So I could totally see that.
Yeah, totally. And also, he was only like 6, like 5 or 6. Like, don't put all that on him.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, how do you feel about the letter that Verity wrote about the truth of her biography? Autobiography? Which one is it when you write it about yourself? Is it auto?
Um, Autobiography, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I put just biography.
That's okay.
Autobiography.
Um, yeah, so that was like the craziest twist ever. That so I guess I'll just explain what we're talking about. So it was the letter that was found at the end of the book that basically said the entire autobiography that she had written was fake and it was a writing exercise to put her into the perspective of the villain to just practice writing that way because that's how she wrote all of her books. So her editor gave her that suggestion to like kind of dramatize normal events that were happening in her life and just make them like sound crazy and like she was this terrible villain who like wanted all of this stuff to happen. And yeah, so the entire thing was a lie. But oh my God, that was so nuts because it was like Lowen had showed Jeremy this autobiography she'd written, and then we find out that it was actually fake, but they had like killed her already. And I don't even know. I didn't know what to think. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, okay, if you're doing this as a writing exercise, great. Perfect. Also, kind of fucked up because you're writing about killing your own children multiple times.
Yeah.
But okay. But then why would you ever put it in any sort of position where someone could find it? And like 2 of your children have died, and you literally wrote about how you watched your daughter drown because you didn't like her.
Yeah.
So why would you
Well,
ever like leave that out
yeah.
somewhere?
And it was also kind of crazy that you found out that Jeremy had seen the autobiography before she showed it to him. Like, but then he like acted out so crazily and killed her. So I don't understand like why all of a sudden it was this big issue, but before it hadn't been that big of an issue. Maybe because they found out she was faking it.
Yeah, I think that's why, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings us to the last question. Who do you think the real villain of the book was, Verity, Lowen, or Jeremy?
Verity, 700%. I don't think that Jeremy or Lowen were ever like in the wrong in the book. Lowen just came into this like blind. She didn't even know what was happening. And Jeremy was just trying to like do what's best for his family. And Verity pretended like she was in a coma for like 8 months. So I would say Verity.
Yeah. It's like, one, yeah, he wasn't paying attention when your editor told you to practice this writing style, but like probably should have told him about it at some point in case he ever stumbled across it. And then two, the fact that you like are pretending to be in a coma this whole time because you don't know how to tell your husband that it was fake with him believing you and you don't want to go to jail. Like that whole thing is just messed up. Like she is a wild woman.
The most wild.
The most wild.
The most. So now we're going into Melanie's favorite part. If we were to make a movie about this book, who would we cast as the characters?
Yeah.
You want to start with Jeremy?
Yes, let's do it. I picked Paul Rudd.
Ooh, I like that pick. I feel like
Mhm.
that's solid.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who did
I
you
can
pick?
see that. I picked James Marsden
I feel like
from
you need to look him up, but I feel like I know who that is also.
Enchanted, or what was that movie he was?
Oh, yeah, he's
Yeah.
perfect.
Who did you pick for Lowen?
I picked Selma Blair.
Ooh, okay. I
Mhm.
went a little bit younger route. I picked Lucy Hale.
Oh, I love Lucy Hale. It's a great pick.
Me too.
And then keeping with kind of that same theme of Selma Blair, for Verity, I picked Christina Applegate.
Ooh, okay. I could see that. I could see her
Mhm.
being evil.
Yeah.
I picked Amy Adams.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like
Red
those
hair.
are choices.
Yeah. Okay. So out of 5 stars, what would you rate this book?
I would rate it like a 4.5. I liked it a lot. I don't think it would be enough for a 5.
Okay, I did give it a 5, and I think I still stand by that. I also would really love to read more books like this that are creepy because I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I went in and added all of the Colleen Hoover books that she's ever written in her entire life to our reading list. So we're gonna read them all at
So
some
get ready.
point. Get ready, friends.
And then, do you want to announce our next book that we're doing?
Yeah, so next up, we're doing The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And Melanie's already finished this book. I'm like 3/4 of the way through. So be on the lookout for our next podcast for that. It'll be coming shortly after.
Yes, I'm excited about it because I really enjoyed it. I don't know that I'll remember all of the 7 husbands' names, but we'll just roll with it.
I took notes because at the beginning I thought, I'm not going to remember who these people are and their backstories because there's a lot of husbands. So I have a
Yeah.
little like note thing on my phone just about the husbands with like one line.
Okay,
So I
good. I think once you start reminding me, then I'll remember.
yeah, because I would like read a few chapters and then it would go on to the next husband and I would be like, who was the last husband again?
Oh
And
my
I like
gosh,
didn't remember.
that's
So
amazing. But anyways, that's all we have for you today. Follow us on Instagram at Literary Ladies Pod. Leave us a review. We love to hear your thoughts, good, bad. Hopefully it's good. And yeah, send us a DM. Let us know what books we should read next, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.